Amek Recall Video, Demo 3. Alright, what's up everybody? It's Davis. Um, so, I'm going to give you a little demo on how the automation in this Recall 40 works because it is so cool. It's so different than anything I've ever used. I mean, honestly, my life sound career started with a very large Mackie Onyx and then very quickly to an X32, and essentially I haven't touched any analog consoles larger than like a VLZ basically my entire career. And so, I know how an analog console works, but genuinely have not spent any amount of time in front of a large one like this, and especially something with weird recall features like this. So, just want to walk you through what I've figured out, what I've learned, how this thing works, because it's really cool and seems really different than any other, quote unquote dumb analog desk that I've used. So, what we have here is the view of the console, and then hopefully over to the right you can see the control screen, which runs on DOS, on like an old Pentium 133, I think. I don't know if 133 is the model or the megahertz, but it's Pentium something or other. So the way that this console works is every single fader is a VCA. So no audio passes through these linear pots as far as I can tell. And essentially, the voltage value that it feeds these VCAs can either come from the fader, it can come from the computer, or it can come from both. So there's 3 modes for each channel. There is a save mode, there's an update mode, and there's an override mode. So when you put the VCA into safe mode by pushing this button, you can see that the fader here is completely ignored, and the VCA value is entirely from this blue line, which is the computer's VCA value. And then when I put it in update mode, which is both lights lit here, you have the computer's VCA value plus you have the VCA value in here. So the most useful way that I could think of to do that would be to build your mix, store it in the computer, set all the faders to 0, and then put it in update mode, and that way you have your entire mix set, you keep all your faders at 0, and then you can make small changes to your mix with the faders. So like, you have your nominal kick drum level, for example, on channel 1, and then if you want to push kick drum up, you can pull it back here, and then when you reset all the faders to 0, your mix is back to exactly how it was stored in the computer. And then, of course, you can put the entire thing into override with Control O, and that essentially ignores any of the VCA data coming from the computer, puts all the control on the faders, and ignores whatever's going on the computer. And so there's a lot of weirdness with this workflow. If you're coming from purely digital like I am, someone who, just worked on a Mackie Onyx for a couple of years and then went to X32, never went back from digital. I don't know. This is all kind of new to me, but essentially, that's how the VCA automation works. And then you've also got automation for mute group assignments. You've got automation for VCA assignments. So I imagine if you're doing like a line-by-line mixing kind of thing, it would make a lot of sense to be tapping through your snapshots, and you've got your actors on your VCAs, you're doing your line-by-line, and whatever. So the way that I've got the audio set up for this video and for this capture is that I have channel 1, which is my headset mic that I'm wearing. It's just like your Audio-Technica regular broadcast mic. So I am feeding the stereo bus straight into my interface, and then I'm sending my mic to the stereo bus, Then I'm also taking the headphone output to the last two channels over here and also sending that to the stereo bus. And the headphone output is in the Rupert Neve voice mode so that when you're recalling a snapshot, you can listen to Rupert Neve tell you where to put all of the pots back. Because the pots are not recallable in any way, but the computer can read the value of them, so it can store the state of them, and it can tell you how to put them back. So, a quick demo of that. Let's say we're going to zero out. I'm just going to use channel 24 here. So I'm going to zero out my EQ, zero out the filters. I'm going to unassign all of the buses, take it out of stereo. I'm going to turn these off, turn these off, turn that off, turn that off. And we are going to go to options, and we're going to go to store setting. We're going to store something to 1. We're going to call this to snapshot 1. Nope, 2, not 1. Enter. And it's going to store the entire state of the desk as snapshot 1. So now, if I go to this channel 24, and we're just going to tweak the EQ a bunch and put it all in weird places that are outside of what the snapshot wanted. We're going to assign some groups. We're going to do stereo. We're going to wildly change the gain. Another cool thing about this console, gain is done in what looks like 6 dB steps, and then you've got a 6 dB trim on top of that. Very similar to how a lot of digital desks work on under the hood that they just don't tell you about. I believe S6L does this. So let's also change up some of the auxes here. So now that we have channel 24 way outside the stored values that are in our snapshot, if we go back over here to console and we do recall setting, we're going to recall 1, and it's going to pull up this screen. And then I'm going to do auto search, and it's going to look for channels that are outside of the value of this snapshot that we just stored. And the only thing that should be there is channel 24, because that's the only thing that we changed. So if I hit auto search, we're going to start hearing Rupert Neve tell us how to put the desk back. So it's going to do auto search. It's going to land on 24.
Input gain switch down.
So
Input gain switch down.
we're going to start with input gain.
Input gain switch down. Down. Okay. High pass filter down. High pass filter down. Okay. Low pass filter up. 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 Okay. HF frequency down. 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 Up. Okay. HF gain up. Up. Slowly up. Okay. High mid frequency down. Down. Okay. High mid frequency gain up. Up. Slowly up. Okay. High mid frequency Q up. Up. Slowly. Okay. Low mid frequency up. 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 Slowly. Okay. Low mid frequency gain down. Down. Okay. Low mid frequency Q up. 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 Okay. Low frequency down. Low frequency down. Up. Okay. Low frequency gain up. 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 Okay. Aux 12 level up. Aux 12 level up. Aux 12
Oh,
level
I'm doing 11.
Up. 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 Okay. Aux 11 level down. 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 Okay. Aux 10 level down. aux 10, OK, aux 9, level, down, 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 OK, aux 8, level, down, aux 8, level, down, aux 8, level, down, aux 8, level, OK, aux 6, level, down, down, OK, aux 5, level, down, aux 5, level, down,
What? I am doing.
aux
Oh, no, I'm
5,
not.
level, down, down, slowly, OK, aux 4, level, down, down, OK, aux 3, level, down, OK, aux 2, level, down, aux 2, OK, aux 1, level, down, OK.
And that's it. We recalled 24, and it's going to go through the rest of the console, and it's going to be like back to the state where we were. Okay, so I did a little bit of work on trying to figure out how this fader automation works because some of it's still not making sense. But basically, I've got 4 cues in here, and everything is in safe mode right now. So faders, except for this first one that my voice is going through, are being completely ignored by the computer. So when I load scene 4, that sends all of the faders up to this value. So it's only the computer controlling the VCAs on the fader. And then when I go back to scene 1, they go to there. Scene 2, they're all down. Scene 3, they're down. Scene 4, they're back up. It's a little weird and convoluted, but essentially you can just straight up recall fader states. But faders don't move when they're in that mode. So if you were to change everything to update mode, which I can do with Control U, that would mean that when I'm recalling scenes, like if we go to 4 and I pull this up, update mode would be there. Got a couple faders swapped because of a wiring thing. There's still, like this one is going to drive the computer's value up and down with the fader. So I feel like the way that I would use this is to save my actual mix in the computer and then trim it up and down with the faders per show, potentially. And I need a clap sync. Okay, cool. And then the very last thing that is really cool is the virtual dynamics. So on the channel 1, the mic that I'm talking on right now that you're hearing, AFL to monitors. Okay, so the next cool thing that we can do here, we're still listening to the master bus. Oh, there's some weirdness happening there. We're just going to ignore that. So anyways, if I push V, I can go to my virtual dynamics mode. And what's cool about this is if I push spacebar, I've got a whole bunch of virtual dynamics. There's one of these for each console. So let's just say, I think this expand compress is pretty cool. So if I turn this on and set the threshold of the expander all the way down, set the threshold of the compressor all the way up, it is essentially only running the compressor right now. And then if I put the expander in, then I can start to bring the threshold up. Nope, that doesn't work. Expander in. Hey. Okay, yeah, that doesn't do anything. Oh, there we go. So we've got like a PSE kind of thing going on here, just a little gate. And if I take out the expander, we'll have the compressor. So we can start to compress. Hey, hey. Okay, so yeah, now we're compressing, and then if I dig into it, hey, hey, it still doesn't do anything. Hey, yeah, okay, so yeah, this is like a weird expander compressor thing. A bunch of this stuff sort of doesn't make sense on how it works, but we can look through some of the other ones. Like we could go to Supergate. So we're going to turn it on, and we're going to set our range up a little bit. Maybe give ourselves some gain, and then maybe our gain reduction. I mean, some of this stuff is so crazy. Um, yeah, there we go. That's like actually gating now. Um, so yeah, it's very, very interesting. If I can add probably some hold to it. And then there's probably a mode for range. Yeah, so now it's just gating me a little bit. And I do not like that long hold. And yeah, and then maybe some attack. Oh, attack is already as slow as it'll go. Maybe we'll open up that attack a little bit. But yeah, you've got virtual dynamics for every single strip on the console. Um, and yeah, I mean, this thing is just, I don't know, it's so cool. It feels good to be on a desk where you have some constraints because, you know, if you're on any of the modern desks and you have unlimited plugins, you reach for tools that, you know, you may not need. And this kind of forces you to stick with the basics, you know, fix everything on the strip, fix everything here before you like really consider patching in an outboard to do another thing that you need to do. So that's where I'm at with the recall right now. Probably next steps for this are going to be decoding the serial protocol, trying to write maybe some more modern software for it. And even if that's out the window, I need to get a um, parallel like LPT port and a COM port maybe to a network adapter so that I can run all of this in like DOSBox on a laptop and not have to carry a 386 around. And my other secret project that I'm thinking about doing is buying a whole bunch of T0 Fortes, and I think with about 12 AVB VIs that I could take every single I/O on this desk except for the preamps and basically have an entire T0 system in front of it, and you know have a big fixed DSP to sort out some of the routing. Because just thinking about my main gig in the way that I would drive this, I've got plenty of inputs, probably up through 32, and then the master bus has sends to the matrix up here. So obviously you would do like, you know, send your left and right to the left and right matrices, and then, you know, send your sub and your fills to 3 and 4 at like -6, wherever that is. So you need to have left right subfill here. But then that eliminates what I normally do, which would be to put all of my PA drive on a VCA. So I'm even thinking about returning these matrices, whatever, back to the last 4 channels and potentially putting those in a PA VCA just so that I can have a gas fader here and always be driving my main mix at the same level, and then, you know, record levels stay the same and all that. But that said, you know, I have no real plans to tour this desk, but the band that I work for is in town, and so hopefully there's an in-town show someday that this thing can go out on and do some cool stuff. So yeah, that's the recall. Everything works. It's super cool. I've got the drives imaged so that if these nearly 30-year-old Caviar 22,000s decide to take a dump, we're okay. And yeah, if anybody knows anything else about these, let me know. Some other cool things I learned is that about these channel strips right here, you pull out and you can measure the rail voltages because this has a 5 volt, a 48 volt, and a plus and a minus 17 volt rail. And with my second power supply turned on, my plus 17 volt rail was at 22 volts, which isn't great. And I turned that off, and that was all. That took it back to 17 volts, and it was all good. And I accidentally put two of the channel strips in backwards, so right now I have 7, 9, 8, 10. So uh, 9 and 8 being swapped, they still pass the correct audio for the slot they're in, but the cable that sends the fader data to the VCA is backwards, so the computer thinks these faders are backwards. Um, but other than that, I mean, this thing is in great shape. There's a battery underneath the RL3 module that the Amek service guy was worried that had leaked a bunch of stuff this way because it sat upright in a case for 10 years. But that thing's all good. I've got a couple of spares on the way if this one doesn't charge up after this thing's sitting for a while. But yeah, what a cool freaking console. From what I understand, these are essentially Neve 9098 modules. I don't know how accurate that is or if that's true or not, but I saw it on the internet, so it's possible that it's true. Um, but yeah, I've got a few extra channel strips. I have a second computer. I have a third power supply. And yeah, lots more adventures to come. And what's cool about this is, you can just absolutely drive the snot out of these preamps, and it doesn't sound like digital garbage, which is pretty cool. I'm just like really excited to absolutely, send a kick drum through these channels and just, smash the output a little bit. And I'm also very curious to hear what these buses sound like when they're being driven hard because that also probably sounds great. But yeah, cool. This is the State of the Union on the Amek. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, hit me up. You know where to find me.